Welcome back to From the Pages, and if revisiting wrestling history makes your pulse jump the way it does mine, then settle in and hit like, subscribe, and ring that bell because today we are stepping deep into the June 1991 issue of WCW Wrestling Wrap-Up, a magazine drenched in early 90s neon, geometric graphics, and that unmistakable WCW energy when everything, the booking, the presentation, the roster, the partnerships, the direction, felt like it was balancing on a wild fault line, neither fully old school nor fully new school, suspended in the thrilling chaos between eras as the promotion tried to define what it wanted to be. And this issue wastes no time throwing us straight into its feature slate, beginning with Lex Luger at the Crossroads, a piece that captures the total package at a genuinely transformative moment where physical dominance alone is no longer enough, where political currents, locker room expectations, championship opportunities, and shifting fan reactions converge around a man known for power, athleticism, and potential, but now staring down the uncomfortable questions of legacy and direction as UCW prepares for enormous structural change. And the article frames Luger as a man caught between the WCW that was a setup and the WCW that might come, a symbol of transition whose next move could tilt the balance of the entire company. And then on page 5, the Stomp Collection explodes across the layout of violent ballet of boots, hitting bodies, ropes shaking, faces recoiling, and the gritty impact photography that defined early 90s WCW, reminding readers that beyond the storylines there is always raw physical collision, and this curated sequence doesn't just present stomps, but celebrates them, spotlighting one of wrestling's most universal strikes in all its simple, punishing, loud, ring-rattling beauty. Then on page 6, the tone sharpens dramatically as What's Wrong with Brian? Studies the turbulence swirling around Brian Pillman, the blonde, high-flying, explosive competitor whose immense talent came packaged with equally immense expectations, and the feature paints a portrait of a man battling both the physical grind of a demanding schedule and the psychological strain of a performer trying to evolve within a company, still figuring out what to do with him. And it hints at the emotional frustration, creative uncertainty, and intensity that marked this chapter in Pillman's journey, making it a compelling window into a rising star caught between his potential and the system surrounding him. And immediately after this introspective analysis, the magazine veers into something completely different with page 7's Desperados, a feature anchored in WCW's attempt to merge humor, character-driven storytelling, and cowboy-themed absurdity into a unique comedic subplot as the eccentric trio wanders across the WCW universe searching endlessly, desperately, hilariously for Black Bart, and the magazine leans into the strange charm of this early 90s experiment in wrestling entertainment, reflecting WCW's willingness to take risks, try oddball ideas, and blend camp with competition during a period when the company was desperate to carve out a distinct identity separate from everyone else. And then on page 10, we shift from cowboy comedy to international excellence with Hase and Sasaki, a polished, respectful feature acknowledging Hiroshi Hase and Kensuke Sasaki as two of the most powerful, technically refined, and globally respected competitors performing in the wrestling world at that time. And the article highlights how WCW's partnership with New Japan Pro Wrestling added incredible diversity and depth to the product, exposing American fans to Japanese wrestling's precision, discipline, and athleticism, reinforcing that the WCW ring extended far beyond U.S. borders and that the company's identity was increasingly shaped by international exchange. And then on page 11, we land on Bobby Eaton, a feature that feels almost reverential in tone as it celebrates one of the most quietly extraordinary performers in wrestling history. A man universally praised by peers for his timing, footwork, adaptability, consistency, professionalism, and unmatched ability to elevate every opponent he touched. And the magazine treats Eaton not as a flashy superstar nor as a loudmouth character, but as a craftsman of the ring, a standard bearer for a technical excellence whose influence reached far deeper than the spotlight ever showed. And then on page 14, we hit The Natural and Rick Morton, an exploration of two talents who represent different threads woven through WCW's evolution. Dustin Rhodes carrying the weight and promise of a legendary lineage while carving his own path as the natural. And Ricky Morton, a beloved icon of babyface fire, whose selling, resilience, and crowd connection helped shape an entire generation of tag team wrestling. And this feature contrasts and compares their roles, energies, and contributions, showing how generational bridges are built inside the ring. And right after that, the magazine barrels into page 15 with Paulie Dangerously, capturing the raw kinetic intelligence of a man who was chaos incarnate in WCW, swinging his oversized cell phone like a weapon, talking circles around opponents, orchestrating schemes with manic precision, and radiating the kind of disruptive brilliance that made every angle he touched feel alive, unpredictable, and dangerous. And the feature frames him as one of the sharpest minds in the business even at this early stage, recognizing the volatile potential that would later redefine entire eras of wrestling. And then the feature section concludes with page 16's guide for WCW television, an essential roadmap for fans listing broadcast schedules, match lineups, storyline checkpoints, television markets, and upcoming must-see programming across the WCW television landscape, emphasizing just how critical TV had become to shaping WCW's identity, distributing its talent, and controlling the narrative that fans followed week after week. And with the features complete, the magazine shifts to its departments, beginning on page 2 with Editor's Corner, where the editorial voice contextualizes the moment WCW is living through, reflecting on the state of the company, the tone of the roster, the creative direction, and the ever-present sense of change as the promotion tries desperately to balance tradition and innovation in a wrestling world undergoing seismic shifts. And on page 8, the poster of the Rap Master bursts onto the scene with a full-page, larger-than-life image of PN News emphasizing the company's attempt to harness cultural trends in music, fashion, and youth identity, turning the Rap Master into a symbol of WCW's 90s experimentations as the Federation sought new demographics, new markets, and new forms of presentation. And page 12's Letters to Wrap-Up opens up the conversation to the fans themselves, printing their handwritten praise, confusion, criticism, excitement, frustration, and hope, giving readers a candid cross-section of what WCW's loyal audience cared about during this volatile moment, illuminating the emotional investment fans had in their favorites, their storylines, and their expectations for WCW's future. And page 16 closes the issue with the calendar of events, a crucial listing of cities, arenas, dates, towns, touring loops, and future appearances as WCW charts its path through live events across the country, reminding readers that, as important as television was becoming, the lifeblood of wrestling still pulsed strongest inside packed buildings filled with screaming fans reacting in real time to every punch, every betrayal, every hold, every hero, and every villain, making this June 1991 issue of WCW Wrestling Wrap-Up a vivid time capsule of a promotion suspended between identities filled with rising stars, quiet masters, international alliances, comedic misfires, volatile managers, frustrated athletes, hopeful editors, loyal fans, and a schedule that refused to slow down, all wrapped in one neon-soaked magazine that captures WCW at its messy, ambitious, transitional, unforgettable best.